Why it is that workers should feel that they can trust your government when it comes to defending their rights in trade agreements. I mean, my understanding is that prior to the election of Donald Trump, you were meeting with representatives from the building trades who were highlighting important problems with Chapter 12 of the TPP, and the line at that time was that you agreed very much, but geez, it's too bad that the TPP is already negotiated and it's a done deal. Then there was an opportunity to renegotiate TPP, and Chapter 12 didn't change. And Chapter 12, of course, reproduces a lot of the worst abuses of the temporary foreign worker program. It's going to allow companies to be able to bring workers in under all sorts of categories without any vetting or tracking or standards assessment by Canadian governments, whether provincial or federal. So I'm wondering why it is workers feel that they should trust you when you at one point, or your government certainly, were admitting the problems with Chapter 12 and then completely passed up the opportunity to do anything about it when the negotiations for CPTPP came around.
Well, I think if you were to talk, and thank you for the question, I appreciate that, because labor is probably the group I meet most often with. And like I said, when we did Mercosur, the first thing, I was the first minister of a foreign government to meet with labor in that country in respect of a trade agreement. Same thing in Argentina. So I think if you were to talk, and I hosted the L7 in Ottawa.
Be more focused on the results.
I'll come to your question. And I can say with the Building Trade Association, I met with them and I even spoke at their conference. And what we're doing is actually taking on board what they wanted. What they wanted was stellar enforcement of the rules we have. We want labor mobility, but certainly we want to preserve the integrity of the labor market in Canada. We have agreed with them on the way forward. And we're looking with our civil service now how we can implement what we've been discussing.
Yeah, but part of the problem is that wording isn't in the agreement. So the agreement is very explicit that Canadian governments won't require any kind of standards qualification.
Well, I would challenge you on that, and I'll refer you to the text. The text is very clear that people who come in this country would have to pay the same rates of laborers we have, need to come with experience. They need to be specialized skills. And we're working with the building trade. The concern they had...
The text of the agreement says Canada shall grant temporary entry and provide a work permit or work authorization to these workers and will not, A, require labor certification tests or other procedures of similar intent as a condition of temporary entry, or B, impose or maintain any numerical restriction relating to temporary entry. I mean, I think that's pretty clear in terms of Canada's right to impose any kind of test on the qualification of workers coming into Canada. Wouldn't you agree, Minister?
One of the things, I'm quite familiar with the text, by the way, but what I can say is that what we've agreed with the labor, the Building Trade Association, is to make sure that the enforcement, which is their concern, is enforcement. And I met with them.
So why is it that investors get protection?
Mr. Blaikie, your time is up.